honorable leaders, esteemed partners, and fellow islanders. Yahweh? Yahweh. Have a day, and thank you for having me here today. A special thank you to the organizers and our amazing co-host, Governor of Guam, Leon Guerrero. Thank you so much. President of the University of Guam, Anita Borja Enriquez. Also, Sheldon, Dr. Sheldon, I want to thank him for doing such a good job of making sure that we're here. We're all about sustainability, but we have not been partnered in the green growth movement. So this is an effort to get to that place sooner than later. So thank you all for making it possible for us to be here. I'd like to begin my remarks by sharing a little bit about myself, a little bit where I come from. I come from I grew up in one of the islands in the outer islands of the Marshall Islands called Jalwood, in a small, tight-knit community where our lives were deeply connected to the land and ocean. As one of 10 children and a daughter of a pastor, I really learned early on what it means to live sustainably. We didn't have much in terms of material things, but we were content with what nature provided the family. Thanks to my father's farming skills and the resourcefulness of my parents, our needs were always met, and we always had fresh vegetables, eggs, and other nutritious food from our own backyard, including fresh fish and seafood from the ocean. This is the time when field trip ships from the main island come to the outer islands like once every 6 months. So it was very different, but looking back, it was living sustainably. So when you talk about sustainability, that was sustainability living. We harvested only what we needed and lived with a deep respect for our environment. Our reliance on imported goods was minimal, and I say really minimal. And I do not recall ever wanting or needing or being hungry. Sustainability was not a buzzword back then. It was just how we lived. It was practical. It was what we call manit, or traditional ways of living. That way of life shaped who I am today and fuels my commitment to a future where we return to the balance, not in a nostalgic way, but with the benefits of new tools, partnerships, and knowledge. According to the principle and pillars of sustainability, I'm sure many of you are aware, and I quote, at the heart of sustainability lies environmental sustainability, which revolves around preserving and nurturing the health of our planet. This principle entails the responsible use of natural resources, reducing waste and pollution, and conserving biodiversity. And genuine environmental sustainability calls for urgent action to combat climate change, protect ecosystems, and reverse environmental degradation. Today, in the face of climate change and rising sea levels, our nation is not merely trying to survive. We are working hard to be sustainable. We are working hard today so the future generations may thrive. For Marshallese people, culture is deeply rooted in our land and traditionally erodes our chiefly system. When we lose our land, we risk losing our lineage, our history, and the social structures that hold our communities together. It puts at risk both our tangible and intangible heritage, our sacred sites, our oral histories, and the traditional knowledge and materials that define who we are. Our National Adaptation Plan, NAP, is our blueprint for survival, guiding us through the accelerating impacts of climate change. Coastal hazards and sea level rise pose critical challenges, forcing us to confront difficult questions. At only 2 meters above sea level, questions such as which atolls and communities are to be fortified, elevated, and saved. How do we maximize our efforts with limited resources? Elevating all of our islands and atolls is costly. Therefore, strategic action is critical. Clearly, we must focus on our most populated communities where retreat is not an option. Rural areas, while more ecologically resilient, must also be prepared for episodic displacement. We cannot ignore the growing threats of our urban areas, highly modified landscapes where natural shorelines are compromised, and fortification remains the only feasible solution. However, we recognize that poorly planned interventions such as piecemeal seawall construction can exacerbate erosion and accelerate the degradation of our coastal environment. Our approach must be strategic, data-driven, and sustainable. The students spoke earlier about solutions for islands that might be submerged. I am looking forward to looking at those solutions. We are looking for solutions for submerged islands. One of our most pressing challenges is securing fine and large aggregates for fortification, shoreline development, and land elevation. The Pacific region is making progress, though only for limited land areas compared to the urgent need. We are learning from the experiences of Kiribati and Tuvalu, and we are actively exploring new, more sustainable approaches. One of these is the World Bank-funded aggregate study near our 2 urban centers, Majuro and Ibai. It highlights the intense link between small aggregate security and climate security and provides the primary pathway for climate change adaptation in atoll nations. We have embarked on aggregate sourcing and shoreline development policy efforts with accompanying technical analysis so that we can address challenges in a well-planned and sustainable manner. Part of this is exploring the use of cutter suction dredging as the most viable way to access identified sources, which allow us to discontinue unsustainable shoreline dredging and provide fine aggregate for adaptation. For small island atoll nations, there are no place to get aggregates. It's either you blast the reef or you get sediment from the lagoon area. And the studies confirm that it's better to get the sediment from our lagoon and that there is a lot in there in order to provide for land reclamation, for elevation of land, and these are something that we're looking at. Big island nations don't have that kind of a problem. Right now we have a project on Ibai. They're building a seawall on the shoreline on the coastline of Ibai, and the boulders that are brought to start the project all come from Dubai. So that's telling you how hard it is to secure these kind of aggregates. So anyway, moving forward, our priorities are clear. Fine aggregate for urban seawalls and revetments to protect communities from storm surges and coastal erosion. Fine aggregate for berm building in rural areas, especially near urban centers, to enhance natural resilience. Or large aggregate for revetment and breakwaters, this to exploring more sustainable excavation techniques that create connected channels to mitigate ecological impacts. Or fine and large aggregate for elevating urban and Majuro and Ibai, a necessity in the face of rising seas. And fine and large aggregate for rural land elevation, recognizing the role of rural areas in supporting urban centers and critical infrastructure. So to put this into perspective, the identified site for suction dredging in Majuro Lagoon contains enough fine aggregate to raise 1/3 of Majuro's land area by approximately 3 meters. While this is a significant volume, it remains only a modest solution. Adaptation will require even greater elevation across more urban and rural areas. So as we move forward, we must rely on high-resolution data to inform our policies and early warning systems. Investing in accurate LiDAR topography data for Majuro and nearby costs approximately $400,000, an investment that is now guiding adaptation and mitigation efforts worth up to $60 million. This is the kind of strategic investment that will define our future and ensure that we remain in our EZ as it is currently. However, land elevation alone is not enough. Adaptation requires a balanced approach, one that integrates both hard solutions and soft solutions. And we recognize that there is no one-size-fits-all strategy for our islands, especially given the severity of the situation in our urban centers. Nature-based solutions must be a central pillar of our adaptation strategy. Berm building, revegetation, reef protection, designing marine protected areas like what you've seen on the short film, coral restoration and replanting can enhance ecosystems while complementing physical adaptation efforts. These efforts or approaches reduce erosion, provide natural storm buffers, and support biodiversity, all while being cost-effective and sustainable in the long run. To ensure these solutions are well planned and effectively implemented, we rely on strong governance and partnerships. The Coastal Management Advisory Committee, CMAC, is a partnership of government agencies, NGOs, and community organizations working together to manage our natural resources and build resilience. It serves as a platform for coordinating conservation efforts, implementing the Raymanlock, which means looking to the future, Raymanlock framework for protected areas, and advises on sustainable resource management. Through this collaborative approach, CMAC helps empower our communities with the knowledge and skills needed to safeguard our environments, livelihoods, and future. In parallel with climate adaptation, we must also emphasize the vital role of oceans. The fisheries sector is a cornerstone of our economy, contributing significantly to government revenue, food security, and employment. Sustainable management of tuna fisheries through the parties to the Nauru Agreement, or PNA, and effective monitoring, control, and surveillance measures ensures long-term economic benefits for our people. Last month, during the Honiara Summit, the Republic of the Marshall Islands proudly welcomed the launch of the East New Britain Initiative and joined hands with the Federated States of Micronesia and Papua New Guinea in signing the Pacific Island Tuna Tripartite Partnership. These initiatives mark a major leap forward in advancing the Pacific's fisheries development agenda. A part of our fisheries strategy is our commitment to community-based fisheries management. Through the Raymanlock, we are supporting local fishers by combining traditional knowledge with modern conservation practices. This empowers communities to sustainably manage their resources and ensures that ocean stewardship is deeply rooted in cultural and ecological heritage. We are also working to unlock greater economic potential through value-added processing, filleting, drying, and export certification, which enhances local business opportunities and strengthens our market competitiveness. Our government is committed to policies that strike a balance between economic development and environmental stewardship. This includes reducing bycatch, preventing illegal fishing, and exploring sustainable aquaculture initiatives. We are especially proud of our recent designation of the first national marine sanctuary in the Marshall Islands, protecting Pigar and Pokak atolls, which you've seen the short clip. Signed into law on January 8, 2025, this sanctuary spans 18,500 square miles of pristine Pacific ecosystems in the northern part of the Marshall Islands. It safeguards critical marine life, including deep-sea sharks, green turtles, and resilient coral reefs. Rooted in the Ramallah framework, this effort is a testament to the power of community-led conservation, confirmed by a 2023 National Geographic expedition that documented the area's extraordinary biodiversity. Later this month, at the 10th Our Ocean Conference in Busan, South Korea, our very own Marshall Islands Conservation Society will be joining the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution side event to showcase the study on heat resilient reefs, or what we call super reefs, found in the country. This highlights our commitment to building local expertise, empowering in-country specialists, and strengthening partnerships to expand our knowledge and impact. We need skilled people to lead our efforts, which is why a key part of CMAC's work is capacity building, ensuring that our people, institutions, and local leaders have the training, resources, and expertise to respond to climate threats. By fostering local solutions, supporting alternative livelihoods, and integrating climate adaptation strategies, CMAC strengthens our ability to protect our islands for generations to come. It is vital that we continue to invest in education, training, and workforce development, especially in areas like climate adaptation and marine resource management. This means investing in our people, especially women. I am proud to share that 59 of our women recently completed a training in solar energy technologies. Lighting the way for more inclusive and sustainable development. Their success is proof that local innovation and empowerment are at the heart of resilience. The Republic of the Marshall Islands is committed to securing a resilient future. We are investing in nature-based solutions, pioneering sustainable aggregate sourcing, and leveraging cutting-edge data to inform our strategies. But we must act faster, and we must act together. We cannot navigate these challenges alone. We extend our deepest appreciation to our partners, large donors, regional organizations, and bilateral and multilateral initiatives that support our biodiversity conservation and adaptation efforts. The question before us is not whether we can rise to this challenge, but how quickly we can do it. Sea level rising is going up really fast. The future of our islands depends on the decisions we make today. Our goal is not just to protect what we have, but to create a future where our islands are stronger, our people are empowered, and our way of life can endure. Komoltada, thank you very much. Thank you so much.